Alright, what's up everybody? AJA here, back to show you how the sampler works and sample mode. A lot of people like to sample old records and make beats out of them. There's been many classic hip-hop records and just dance records and records in general that have used samples from old wax. But there's now a new digital era, to where there's iPods and iPads and internet and all this other stuff. So BeatThing can sample all of that. Basically, anything with an audio output you can record on BeatThing, including microphones, turntables, and all the other stuff that I just mentioned. So what I'm going to do in this tutorial video is basically show you the basics on how to sample a sound and edit that sound in sample mode. So I just click the sample button here to get to that mode, and then on the main screen you'll see I click new, and then I've got a few things here: input gain, my bit depth so I can record 24-bit or 16-bit. I've got my input volume here on the back, which controls how loud it's going to be, and that's a hardware gain input with a built-in limiter to keep the sound from distorting and all that. So once I got all my settings set the way I want, all I'm gonna have to do is hit record and play, and then I start my record and it's gonna record. So I got my record queued up. Yeah, another classic from Mr. Troutman and Zap. You know what I'm saying? Tupac made it famous, but this is the original. So I'm just gonna get that little sample in there. When I'm done, let's hit stop in both places, and then I've got my sample. And now, I had a little bit of dead air at the beginning of it, and let's say I want to edit that. Now I want to take that sample and I want to edit it. So what I'm going to do here is just click the more button, click more again, and then I'm going to click edit. All right. Now you'll see the waveform of that sample on the screen, and in this case, since I queued up the record or whatever, I have a bunch of dead space at the beginning. The way I get around that is I just click the trim button. And I click trim, and then I can set the start point right here, just like this. All right. And I hit the play button to hear back what where I'm at, and I can click the end button here to end it wherever I want to end it. And then I just click more. And then if I don't want to make those edits, I click cancel. If I want to make those edits, I just click OK. And what it's going to do is it then throws away all that dead space, all that the space that I didn't use. And then I can save that sample. Let me just save it right now before I do anything else to it. And let's call this sample ZX, for example. And I'm just going to save it to my SD card. Okay. And then it's there. ZX sample. Alright. Now there's a few other things I can do. I can click the reverse button, and I can reverse that sample, play it backwards, or hit reverse again and it'll unreverse it. I can click more, and I can click normalize. And what normalize does is it takes basically the loudest sound in your sample and sets the peak to the 0 point and brings everything up along with it. So what it does is it puts your sample in a nice little box to where it almost sounds like a little bit like compression. Just basically, adds a nice volume level and overall compression to the sample. And then I can click the amplify button, and I can, either bring the sound volume up or the sound volume down for that particular sample. So if it was too low or whatever, and normalize didn't quite get it, or normalize made it too loud or whatever, you can go back and edit the actual gain of that sample and save that sample like that. In this case, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? I got that. I can also use my time stretch, and time stretch basically I can speed it up or I can slow it down, but in this case I want to just use the regular sample. And then I've got more. I can pitch shift it, which I could basically change the pitch of the sample without changing the speed of the sample. So I can make the pitch lower without making the sample longer. I can make the pitch higher without speeding up the sample. And that's a handy feature. And then I think probably one of the biggest features is auto chop. And what that does is it takes the sample and slices it up into little pieces to where then I can use it later for other things. So, like building a drum kit out of it. So what I do now to do that is I just click the auto chop button here. It's going to ask me to save my sample again, all the little changes I made to it. So yes, I agree to that. And now, basically, I can set my sensitivity of the auto chop. I can set the frequency of the auto chop, basically how many chops it's going to create. You know what I mean? And you just play with this until you get it, sort of the way you want it, and you'll see the little red lines on the screen, and that indicates where the little chop points are going to happen. When I'm done and I've got it kind of set the way I want, I click OK, and I just name it. It's just called ZX Auto Chop. I'm going to save that to my SD card, right? Now dig this. Here's the cool part. So now I'm done editing that sample. I can go back in here and do other things to it. But let's say now I want to, where did that auto chop go? What did it do after it did that? Well, if I go here to my kit button, I can find that kit, and now watch this. All my chop points are right there, already laid out for me in the kit. Let me turn it up a little bit so I can hear what I'm doing here. Now, I've got all those pieces, and I can hit edit, and I can actually go in here and edit each individual slices that are already laid out for me on the pads. Like I can raise the volumes of some of them, and then I can also go in here, I can change the pitch of some of them, just like that. I can also go in here and tweak the start and end points. So I could go and say, well, you know what, I don't want that little, I just want the snare. And that has a little blip on the end of it, so I can go and cut that out. And I can edit all the little pieces individually. So I can kind of fine tune, what Auto Chop did. Auto Chop gets you in the ballpark, but then you can go back in and still move the start and end points, however you want. So that's what I'm doing. This is gonna be dope. Watch what I do with this. Almost done. Now, another cool feature in kit mode here is the ability to move everything up at one time, and that's a little tip that I'll show you right quick because it doesn't take long. So basically, if I hold down the kit button and then move the volume, it brings all the volumes of everything up in that particular bank. I can do that again here, move it up. Alright, so now I've got that kit built out of my chopped samples, and I'm ready to make a beat out of it. So what I'm just going to do is just go to pattern mode, find my ZX kit that I just made, and then I can actually make a beat out of it. Two, three, 3, 4, maybe set my tempo to like 90, 91, something like that. Hit record and play. If I get a little bit off time, Quantize will put me on. In that case, I could do a little bit better, so let me try it again. So all I have to do is put it in replace mode or hit undo and just hit record and play again. Let's try to get a little bit more on beat. Maybe put a little swing to it. Had a note in there that I didn't really like, so just hold down delete and take that note out. Take those notes out. I can go to track 2 now, add something else. Like that. You can drop the pitch of it. So just like that, you can take a sample, automatically chop it up, assign it to the pads, make a kit out of it, and make a beat out of it. Very easy, simple to do. Peace.